of a Walden festival forum, right? Is that we can have a piece called Sonata for Cello and Piano, and then we can have a sea shanty on the same concert. That's actually hard to come by. Tell me about your music and how you think about writing texts and writing the music to go along with it.
Well, I really try to think of an idea, and sometimes the ideas sort of come out of nowhere. In this case, I was stuck in traffic in the Holland Tunnel, and I heard this wonderful singer named Stan Rogers, who's from Newfoundland, and he sings all these serious songs about these men that go out whaling, and their wives are waiting for them, and they sometimes have to wait for months, and they don't know if their husbands are going to come home. And I heard one song after another for about an hour and a half. I said, well, can't we have something a little bit more lighthearted in this theme? And I didn't even have any idea of a tune or words, but just the idea, and it just kept going through my mind that can there be some kind of a humorous whaling song? So, it didn't immediately happen from there, but that was really, I guess, the inspiration for that. And there was a fellow that used to live across the street from me, and he was from Scotland, and he had this perfect accent. And I told him one day I was going to write a song for him. I didn't really think it was going to be this song, but he listened to it and he said, "Oh, I can understand what you're saying." He said.
So has he performed this?
He's heard me perform it.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's not a performer, but he really appreciated. I think he realized that I had used him as an inspiration. So. But I remember my first Walden, when I was at the camp, we had to write something for the first week. And I wrote a song about a train wreck. And it was a little bit different mood, I think, from most of the pieces that were performed that evening. But,
yeah. a lot of the first week pieces are train wrecks.
I remember a long time ago, I went to a performance. This was one of the, this must have been about 40 years ago. I was about this high. And David Hogan was performing it. He was supposed to write a piece of Dorian Moe. And he got some musicians together in this very old hall and played Come Close the Curtains of Your Eyes. And it was just so amazing because just the way it really stood out. And I thought, boy, if I have to write a piece for next week in Dorian Moe, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it quite that well. I don't know if anyone here knows that song, but from Walden, I think everybody would know it. Yeah, that's it. So
that was the first performance of that?
Yes, that I think was the first performance of that particular song. It was in a very small place around people. I think it may not even exist now when they put up the new dorms there. But somehow just, the idea of having just an idea about the music and later actually coming out with words and music that's, I think the idea goes through my mind a lot longer. And then I think when I actually wrote that, it maybe took 45 minutes or an hour or something like that. I just kind of wrote it very quickly. And then I called my great uncle and said, I just wrote this song, I want you to hear it. And he said, oh, that's a good one.
Thoughts from the audience? Stunned them into silence. Yeah.
Well, what other venues do you write for or perform in, and what do you say when people ask you what kind of music do you write?
Well, I guess I started out with, studying classical music because I studied at Peabody Preparatory. So at first it was, fairly serious music. But then I remember a story about Larry Adler where he was playing for his, apparently a recital in order to graduate from Peabody. And he played Yes, We Have No Bananas. And it wasn't that well received, although he played it very well, apparently. And so I sort of got the idea of, I got very interested in Scott Joplin. I had a piano teacher that liked Scott Joplin. And I tried to balance a little bit of the serious and the lighthearted at the same time. So I really like many kinds of music. Before, I don't know if you heard, I was rehearsing, I was playing some song I was just started writing earlier this month. Maybe 80% done, a little jazz too. So I try to balance out different kinds of ideas that I have. Sort of whatever comes to mind. I figure if it's serious or it's classical, whatever style it happens to be. I don't try to really make it fit. I just let the piece kind of come out whatever way it might be.
I think that's a great way to keep a very, vibrant musical existence is to do lots of different things. I was talking to Jane O'Hara earlier, and we were talking about she's playing a gig tomorrow that's all very classical music, and I know Jane as a new music cellist, but she feels that these two things influence each other, and she's allowed to keep things fresh by doing lots of different things, which seems like you're doing.
gratifying and more interesting. And I like to go, when I go to concerts, I like to go to many different kinds of bands.
Yeah. Sam, for example, is a laptop performer and also a brilliant Elvis impersonator. Any other comments from the audience?
I just find it's light, upbeat, fun, and in the middle of everything, classical, it's refreshing. And I love classical. I love old music. This, like I say, it's fun.
No, thank you very much.
Great job.